Hey guys, it's a glorious, do you know what date it is? It's the 1st of November when I'm filming this. It's a glorious day in Barcelona. I've already been for a swim in the sea, but today I'm going to be talking to you about what kind of property you can buy. So I'm Susannah Cole. I run the Good Property Company. I've got a fantastic website for you guys stacked full of information that will be super helpful for you in property. So do hop on over to the website, thegoodpropertycompany.co.uk, and also remember to like and subscribe on this YouTube channel. We did £45 million worth of property. We flipped a ton of deals. The first 42 we flipped, we pulled in £402,000 more than expected. I built a major property portfolio and I live part of my life in Barcelona, which is why I'm here beside the sea in November, because it's a little bit cold in the UK, and part of my life in Bristol, and my main portfolio is based in Bristol, although I have started thinking about buying in Barcelona now. So, before I talk about what kind of property you're going to buy, like flats or houses, what kind of houses, why don't I talk you through the mistakes I see people make, and I want you to avoid these mistakes. Number one, I do not want you buying new builds unless you get the most amazing discount you've ever seen in your life. Why? For two reasons mainly. Flexibility. Most new builds have contracts that say, in their kind of terms, that say you can't use them for short-term letting. They don't want them turning into an Airbnb oasis. And number two, most new builds have quite high service charges, so if you're going to let them out as single lets, actually their profitability is quite low for that reason. So, new builds, I tend to avoid. Second mistake I've seen people making is buying for less than 10% yield. Your estate agents will tell you that 5 or 6% yield is absolutely amazing, incredible, and you should go for it. Now, 5-6% yield is terrible. I have 10% yield is absolutely where you want to be and above. To give you an idea, almost all my properties are 17 to 23% yield when I bought them, and yield is annual rent divided by purchase price. I can't remember what one it was. Like, it was within the first 5 properties I bought was a little one-bed flat that was 9.9% yield. That's terrible. So annual rent divided by purchase price. Why is that important? Because if your yield is quite low, under 10%, you're just not going to make much profit. Your yield needs to be high. It's really simple, and yield is just a really nice measurement of it. Next mistake people make is, if you're buying a flat, not understanding the service and management charges. Before you buy a flat, get to see the accounts over the last 3 years and get to understand what the management charges are, and get to understand, are there any big expenses coming up in the next 3 years, and get to see the minutes of the annual general meeting whereby they say, hey, let's replace the roof, and you're like, damn, I didn't know that was happening. That's why the flat owner's selling, because they don't want to spend, whatever they don't want to spend. So you've got to understand the charges, particularly for flats, the service and the management charge. The next mistake people make is they don't understand their customer segment. So who is it that's going to be renting your property? Are you going to rent to professionals? Are you going to rent to students? Are you going to rent to housing benefit? Are you going to rent to a couple? Are you going to rent to families? What's your segment? Are you going to rent to holiday makers and short-term lets on Airbnb? Understand who your segment is, and then style up and develop up your property accordingly, but also buy the type of property accordingly. So for me, I've got a number of single lets, which are like so easy, it's unbelievable. Just chug away nicely, but the important thing for them to make money is I push down the loan to value quite low. And then I used to run service accommodation. I stopped that the week before COVID. I haven't restarted that. That would be outsourced, and again, that makes quite a lot of money, and the loan to value can be a bit higher on that because the yield is so much higher, the rental is so much higher. I used to run professional HMOs, so 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms. Each people have an individual contract. They all move in, they all move out at different points. Very profitable, where I ended up paying the gas, the electricity, so it was super easy for people to slide in and out, but highly inefficient in terms of manpower, finding all of those tenants. So I switched that portfolio a few years ago to student lets. It's November. We're now starting to advertise, or the tenant find team is advertising to get the students in for the contract to start next July. It is one group of students move in, one group of students move out. The students pay on a monthly basis, but they all need to have a guarantors, and if they don't have a guarantor with a house, then they have to pay the year up front. So I've changed over time my tenant segment, and I now like single lets where the houses are I've got houses that are paid off and quite low loan to value, and I like student lets, and the students pay all the bills and they're guaranteed by the parental, well, they're not always parents, but they're parental guarantors. So I understand my customer segment and I deliver them what they need accordingly. And the final mistake people will make is really not understanding that your behavior as a landlord actually needs to fit your customer segment. So my segment is the top 75% quartile. So my student properties have all got en-suites, my single lets are repainted every 5 years, things are kept neat, tidy and high quality, and my rents are really quite high. So my landlording behaviour, or my team's landlording behaviour if I'm outsourcing, is also quite high. If a repair is reported, it needs to be acted on really quickly. Our washing machine door's broken. Okay, great. Des straight out there the next day. We got a little leak in our shower. Okay, great. And the shower door doesn't quite shut. Okay, great. So match your landlording behaviour to your segment, otherwise you're going to get tenants refusing to pay you rent, and who wants that? So you need to know your target market, your target customer, your target rental price for yield, and your target flip if you're going to do a flip, don't you? So typically you're going to find that the more people in the property, the more money you're going to make. And you can kind of do this in a linear, or I don't know, what's that? Horizontal or vertical way. So I do 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, 5 students in a property, and I make very good money. I also, in a past, did Airbnb, so serviced accommodation. So the 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, 5 students might be that way. They're in there a year, but there's 5 of them sharing the space, and the money is very good. Or you can kind of do it that way. You get what I mean, don't you? Where it's not a single let. My single lets they make good money, but they don't make enormous money unless I've paid the properties off, and then they do well. Where you have constantly changing tenants, so they're short-term tenancies, so they're paying a higher rent for the opportunity to have everything done for them. And typically on a single let with a service accommodation, I'll bring in 3 times the rental of a single let. So you've either got fast turnaround, short-term stays makes more money, or more people makes more money. But I never do more than 5 people, because who wants to live with like a whole crowd of people? 5 is enough as a group, I think. But if you are flipping, so I will tend on the rentals. My most profitable rentals are 3 to 4 bedroom houses that may have a dining room, and I've taken the dining room to become another bedroom. So that's the kind of 3-4 bed terraced houses with a dining room, a living room, a kitchen, and the dining room becomes bedroom 5. Or the kitchen, if it's big enough, becomes a kitchen diner, and the 3 bedrooms are upstairs and the 2 bedrooms are downstairs, the living room, the dining room, and then the kitchen is enormous with French windows, and it's a very nice American kitchen diner. That's a really nice property model. But if you're flipping, what makes a lot of money? Anything that you buy discounted, anything that you can flip for a 20% margin. But one of the lovely techniques I like on flipping is when you take a property and there's a 1-bed flat and you turn it into a 2-bed flat. For that, you'll move the kitchen into the living room, you'll turn the kitchen into a bedroom. Ideally, if it's big enough, you put in an ensuite in there because you've already got all the water pipes already. So you've got 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a lovely large American kitchen, living room, diner. Because we're a bit quirky in the UK, we tend to buy on bedrooms, whereas here in Barcelona, they buy on square meterage. So it doesn't matter how many bedrooms there are, it's about how many meters it is. But in Britain, you can add 50, 70 grand value for adding a bedroom. Interesting, isn't it? So for me, flipping, you might want to do a 1-bed to a 2-bed and rinse and repeat, and makes up 50 to 70 grand each time. And for rentals, I like the 3-4 bedrooms with kitchen, living room, dining room turned into 5 bedrooms, 4 or 5 en suites, 5 bathrooms. That gives me the most amount of money. So I hope that's given you an indication of my personal preferences. Single lets I like if they're on very low loan to value and you pay them off. And how do you pay them off? Boom, boom, boom. You flip, you pay them off. And I have multiple houses paid off. So don't overlook single lets, because I was actually looking back yesterday in terms of repairs reported. It's all my HMOs. My single lets almost never report anything because they are there for years. It's their home. They're not kind of knock about with the property, and maybe they're a little bit older, so they're not like 19, 20-year-old students that are like, my toilet's blocked. Yeah, unblock it, kid. So single lets are actually very efficient. So in the long run, you probably want a whole bunch of single lets fully paid off. In the short run, you probably want a whole bunch of HMOs that are bringing you in $3.5 grand a month. That's useful. Remember, so like and subscribe on the YouTube channel and have a good look at the website. It's called The Good Property Company. It's got everything you need to help you in property. And good luck to you. Good luck to you. I hope you enjoyed that vid. There is a 101 lessons pack if you haven't downloaded it already. 102 pages. I don't stint. If you just click on the link over there, you can download it now.